YouTube, what is good? It's your man Ribs from Doing Film Things. Every single week I drop a new video about film photography, so if that's your thing, definitely go ahead and subscribe. I'm finally back from my recent trip to the Lake District in the UK. The Lake District is basically one massive national park trust that includes tons of different mountains and basically this really beautiful set of landscape from lakes to rolling hills, to mountain peaks, all of the above. Of course, just like everybody else, the UK has had to deal with some lockdown issues, so now we are finally able to travel within the country without too much of a hassle. So some friends and I decided to go ahead and get a car and drive out to the Lake District and stay out there for a whole week. The point of the trip was basically to relax and not work, but also to do lots and lots of hiking and see the beautiful scenery. So that's exactly what we did. This video is going to be a bit of a blog covering basically every single day of the journey, and I'll show you tons and tons of film photos that I took. For this trip, I actually brought 3 cameras, and that included 2 Canon SLR cameras and 1 medium format folding camera, the Agfa Isolette 3. In terms of film, I brought a whole lot of film. I wanted to make sure I was prepared and didn't run into a situation where I didn't have any film left, so definitely brought way more than I needed, but I ended up not using all of it. This video is going to be a bit long, so go ahead and grab a drink, grab some food, sit down and relax, and enjoy the video. So we drove out on a Saturday morning, and basically weather was beautiful and everything was great in London. As we got closer and closer to the Lake District, you definitely noticed the weather changing. Got a bit colder and it definitely got a whole lot rainier. When we arrived in the Lake District, it was basically raining, basically pouring actually. And we decided to go on a hike anyway since we couldn't check into our house until later in the afternoon. The entire hike was basically a wet slog, just kind of going uphill and dealing with the rain and the usual. However, we did get some respite here and there and managed to grab a couple pics when the sun was shining pretty nicely. However, at a couple different moments, the sun did peek through and actually allowed for some decent photos on the way up to the top of the hill. So I took advantage of that and definitely popped a couple photos. I was happy to get a couple of those photos in there because the rest of the day was basically more and more rain. By the end of the day, I was completely soaked and basically I had to set everything to dry and start with a whole new fresh outfit for the next day. So day 2 was a bit better. It definitely still rained on and off, but we did have a bit more sunshine coming through and allowed us to do some hiking without getting soaked the entire time. This hike actually began very beautifully. It was a pretty steep ascent all the way up, but on the way there, we got some fantastic views. I mean, just check this out. For these photos you're seeing here, I actually guessed my exposure. I didn't have time to pull out my phone and kind of get the right exposure with the app, so I just did the Sunny 16 rule and kind of based it off of that, either overexposing a bit or underexposing a bit. Looks like they turned out pretty well. For this hike, we were actually on our way to the top of Buttermere, and on the way there, we got to the plateau about halfway up the hike, and then it just started pouring again. This time there was hail. I could feel the hail just hitting my rain jacket, and you could hear the sound as well. It just was not pleasant at all, so we decided to turn around and head back down to the base of the mountain. So once we were down at the bottom of the mountain again near the lake, we actually sat down and had a quick lunch, just basic stuff like sandwiches and some chips. And then from there we decided to circle around the entire lake and do a nice slow walk for a change of pace. This lake showed some absolutely beautiful views and allowed me to frame the lake itself with the mountains in the background. I love how these shots turned out. It was a fairly long day, including getting wet at the top of the plateau there, so we decided to finish after this and head back home. Okay, so another day, another hike. This day we had amazing weather, and the goal here was to climb up as far as we could to the top of Pavey Arc and get some beautiful views, given that the weather was fantastic this day for the first time. On the way up, it was basically just steps, one leg after the other after the other. That stuff gets really tiring, but this hike gave us some fantastic views alongside of a waterfall all the way up. After reaching one of the Tarn plateaus below the summit of the mountain, we actually split ways with our friends. Friends are very adventurous and decided to do what they call Jack's Arc, which is basically kind of like a long scramble up the side of the mountain with a lot of exposure to the ground below. So we decided not to do that and go the long way. However, we ended up getting lost on the way there since the trails aren't very clearly marked. So my fiance and I turned around and basically decided to go back to find a nice viewpoint, have some lunch, take some photos, relax, and then make our way all the way back down again to meet our friends. I'm not mad at all about this plan because the views were fantastic. It's basically epic stuff out here. I had my sandwich, I had this incredible view, and then of course I stopped to take some really good photos as well. It's really amazing what these landscapes offer. Additionally, it's really amazing how there's these big bodies of water, basically like really large ponds, at the top of some of these hills. And it offers sights unlike any I've seen anywhere else before. Really happy we got to relax here, even though we didn't make it to the top of Pavey Arc. You're probably wondering why am I eating all those bad sandwiches, and basically it's easy to hike with that stuff. You know, you make a very easy sandwich, put some deli meat, some cheese, some mustard, pack it up, and you're good to go. However, for dinner, we ate very well. I told you already once that I'm a big foodie and I love to cook, and I did a lot of that here during this trip for dinner. In fact, here you see a nice giant piece of lamb that we got from our local butcher here where we were staying. The entire Lake District is just roaming with all kinds of sheep left and right. It's one of the biggest exports from this area in terms of meat. So of course we obliged and got ourselves some meat from the local butcher. And for this particular dish, I actually slow braised the meat for a couple hours in some tomato sauce and some other good things. And then I basically created a ragu to put on top of pasta with some Parmesan cheese. It's super simple, but was so delicious. So there was a day that was pretty busy and my friends couldn't make it because they had to do some work. I was on vacation, so I had zero work to do. So my fiance and I basically decided to stay local, right behind where our Airbnb was, and just kind of traverse the path all the way up to that hill. It was basically a jungle, honestly. I know England is not a jungle, but I really felt like I was in a jungle. It was very interesting with lots of really tall, overgrown. It felt very tropical, you know, with a lot of green, overgrown lush, a lot of ferns, that kind of stuff. It's also very hot and sunny, which was fantastic because, again, earlier in the week we had really crappy weather. At the top of the hill behind our house, basically you reach a long plateau that connects all of the peaks around it. It's really interesting. It's almost like a above ground highway. You have all of these different summits all around that are connected by this really long kind of rolling hill that cascades all the way across the entire national park. Once you're up there, it's very chill. It's flat, it's grassy, it's very quiet, and of course you got amazing views. It's really remarkable to see this kind of thing. I've never really seen this anywhere else. And of course, given how relaxing it is up there, I was able to pause and slow down and take a bunch of photos. So on the last full day of our trip, we actually decided to go ahead and climb Scafell Peak. That is the highest peak in all of England, not the UK, and it measures 978 meters in altitude. That's not super high when you compare it to all the other stuff you see in Europe, but we basically started from sea level, so the day hike was pretty long ascent all the way up to the top. Additionally, we decided to take the long route, which really took us kind of a roundabout way around the peak and back up around. This route, although slower than the typical route, gives us incredible views all the way around, so it was definitely worth it. Even about 20 minutes into the hike, hiking along the ridge of one of the fellow mountains next to Scafell, we saw incredible views already. So I knew as we kept going that I was going to see better and better views. Of course, we had to make a stop and eat lunch again, and it's fantastic to eat this little crummy sandwich with such an incredible view. You just can't front on that, you know? It's hard to complain about your sandwich when the view is that good. So at this point, the summit is in view, and I can't wait to get to the summit after about 3 or 4 hours of hiking. The only issue is, if you see there in the middle, there's actually this really steep ascent all the way up to the base of the summit. It's basically a bit of a scramble with some light bouldering. It's not very dangerous, but for me, it's very adventurous. It's probably the most adventurous thing I've done this whole year. But once you're almost all the way there, you can't stop and you gotta keep going. So strapped on my book bag nice and tight and went ahead and climbed with everybody else. You can see how delighted I am just before reaching the summit. Climbing that initial part right before the summit was really exhilarating and made me happy to show that I could do something like that. And on the way to the summit, once it was very, very close and in sight, you just get this nice jolt of energy and kind of refreshes you so that you turn really happy and you just kind of happily trot your way up to the summit. Once you get to the summit and climb up the little steps onto the platform, you get a fantastic 360-degree view of England. You see the entire national park, you can see out to the ocean, you can see out to other fells. It's just a fantastic view. You see just these big bold clouds, lots of blue in the sky, and all the beautiful fells in their green color. We got super lucky. This hike would have been terrible in the rain. On the way back down, we decided to follow a less traveled path to see what kind of views we could get. And it ended up being a bit of a sketchy route. You know, it just wasn't very marked and also a bit steep at certain parts, but the views were amazing. You can see here at the very end of the final approach down, it's just an incredible view of the lake with the surrounding mountains. I'll never forget these views, and I'm so happy we went this way, and I'm so happy I was able to get some beautiful images, especially on medium format. Scafell overall was fantastic, and the route that we took was also even better. I cannot recommend it enough if you ever find yourself in the Lake District. It's a must-do. So it was an epic trip all around. I ended up only shooting 12 rolls of film, and I say only because I brought so much more than that, but 12 rolls of film is a lot. It's the most I've ever shot in kind of one uninterrupted time without having any time to develop. So when I got home on Saturday, between Saturday and Sunday night, I had not only developed all of the film, but also scanned all of it as well. It's a lot of Netflix and a lot of patience, but also a lot of dedication. Let's just say that I'm really glad that I'm done with that. From those 12 rolls of film overall, I got about 161 keeper photos. I haven't had any time to make any prints for these photos, but that's okay. I will definitely be having another video where we go a bit more in depth into Kodak Ektar. It's my first time shooting Ektar that much, and therefore I've got some thoughts about it now, especially because it was all landscape, and I'm definitely gonna print some images as well for you all to see. So stay tuned for that. Once I release it, I'll put it above in the link here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I know that was a bit long, but tons of photos, and I'm really happy with the output that I got from this trip. And I hope you enjoyed those images. If you like this video, definitely go ahead and leave me a like. If you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. All right, y'all, until the next video, peace.